Hello, how's it going? Hey. So, I don't know when you'll see this, but as I'm recording, it is currently the 21st of February. And by the time this gets posted, it'll likely be like late May, maybe even June, probably late May, but who knows. And I don't know, I don't usually have like a subject of the day or a theme of the day, but I feel like the theme of the day has been like shadow work. That's not what I've been calling it. I've been calling it self-sabotage and like being aware of our bad habits and shit. But we could just say shadow work. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to title this video, but I wrote it on Patreon and on YouTube, and it sparked from a live stream that I had earlier where I was doing a card pull for a mutual of mine, and she's a really groovy person, I think, for the most part. And I don't know, I started getting a little bit deep, and I got towards the energy of the Seven of Swords, and she asked me to clarify, and then that's kind of what came through, like being aware that we all have those tendencies to make those not so smart choices. And it's not necessarily always about avoiding those not so smart choices. Sometimes it's about like, and I guess I'm specifically talking to my addictive personalities, like my, you know what I mean, my addicts and whatnot. It's about recognizing that it's an inevitability, and the smartest choice is to work around it, not to try to avoid it, not spend so much energy, like, you know what I mean, in agony. Because like part of it is because you're like trying to self-soothe, you're trying to soothe yourself in some way, and that's the realistic part. Like, it might not be the most healthy, but that's the point of it. And so then when you're like spending so much time avoiding it and like not necessarily addressing the feeling that is attached to it, because, or the trauma that is attached to it, because 9.5 times out of 10, like, if you have an addiction, if you have some sort of affliction like that, it's because of like some energy that is unresolved, you know, that is not being addressed. And we can agree to disagree. You don't have to necessarily agree with what the fuck I'm saying in this video. If you don't agree, that's okay. You can have your perspective. But if you're watching this, if you're here, you know what I mean, something should be resonant for you at least, or maybe you should probably just click off and do something. I don't know. But once again, the human nature is flawed when you really think about it. And as a person who how do I say that? As a person who is very attuned to their spirit, attuned to the divine and whatnot, I've recognized that, like, as much as I could connect, like, and maybe I'm only talking from my perspective because I am in an environment and I am around people who are not as attuned as they could be. So there is this energy of, you know, influence there, I guess. Because I was going to say, no matter how much I connect, I'll always have my flaws, always have, like, but I'm recognizing that it is a lot of my environment. I'm not recognizing it real, like, I've already known that, but I'm coming back to that realization because, like, that's an important aspect. That's not something to gloss over. Like, I'm pretty sure if I was, like, in a temple somewhere, if I was, like, in a rehab facility, if I was, like, in a nice apartment or, like, whatever, I think I would be a lot better. You know what I mean? I would be having a lot less. Oh, I almost died. And for a lot of us, we do have to be honest with ourselves about the environments that we put ourselves in, whether it's work, whether it's friendships, whether it's family, and, like, really decide whether or not those are places that, like, you really should, like, be. And it's okay if you don't want to move, or if you don't have the ability to move, or if you don't even want to move. It's okay, but just being mindful of the contrast between you and your environments. You know what I mean? Because once again, if you're going to choose something that you know that is not that great for you, at least be smart about it. You know what I mean? Harm reduction is what I called it. Once again, because, like, and not just me, I'm not trying to coin it. It's a thing that people say, like, it's a thing, like, for addicts, like, because you know you're going to use anyway. Don't try to kid yourself. Don't try to lie to yourself. Like, after the 5th time, after the 100th time of saying, I'm not going to do this again, at some point you have to get real with yourself and be like, okay, well, I'm going to do this again. But how can I make it not, like, wear me down? Because at some point it does become, like, especially when you're dealing with illegal drugs and whatnot. Because, like, Nobody likes to talk about the legal drugs. Everybody likes to talk about the illegal drugs, but nobody likes to talk about the legal drugs like marijuana and alcohol. And like, of course, alcoholism is a thing, but you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody, it's not the same conversation for a lot of people, I feel like. Also, look at the surrounding. A lot of trees. I've been taking more walks. It's been nice. I appreciate that I've been allowing myself to walk out, to go outside more. It has been warming up, so it's more bearable. You know what I'm saying? Because, oh my God. Like, but yeah, be real with yourself. Like, you are a flawed human, and I do think that there are certain individuals, there are some people who are kind of blessed to have, like, not perfection, but like have less trauma to deal with, or like at least more support. So for a lot of people, they're able to heal faster and easier, and you know what I mean? That's cool. But like, for a lot of us, we have to be cognizant that, like, you know, especially if you're dealing with homelessness, that's a big thing. A lot of people deal with homelessness. I can't fucking speak in this video. I've dealt with homelessness, and it does a lot to your fucking brain. Like, like, not even just the idea of having to like look for shelter every night, but like the idea of being out in the cold, like having the wind, like, you know what I mean? Like, right now it's starting to get cold as fuck. Like, there's a really cold breeze, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit affects a person's brain. And if you're watching this video, once again, like, you have the tools, you have the wherewithal to like make better choices. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're watching this video, you're not like, we're here. You're here. Because I can't tell you how many times I like told myself I was gonna stop, and I wrote music about it, I wrote songs about it, there's lyrics about it, but like, so many times I was like, I'm gonna stop, I need to quit, I need to stop. And I had to be very careful with my language, because I kept saying that, and like, so many it's a good way to rig the system if you're trying to get free drugs, but like, it's like every time you say you're gonna quit, every time you say you're gonna stop, then you get an opportunity, like something happens where it's like, oh wow, that's okay, you want to smoke with me? Oh wow, you want to give me free stuff? Oh my god, what? You know, and sometimes you do have to be mindful of that, because like, that's how that works. It's temptation, it's resistance. You know, you said you were gonna do something, and here's resistance. And I'm not talking from a sober perspective, so don't get me fucking wrong. As sober-minded as I sound, please recognize that I did smoke marijuana, a weed cigarette as they call it. So I am not sober. I know that I should be. I know that I could be a lot more better functioning if I were to be sober, but I don't know, like, once again, the fucking environment that I'm in, it's like, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm just being real with myself, I'm just being honest. Like, it's, because if I don't smoke in there, I'm telling you, there's a big possibility I might say something that I don't want to say, you know? Say something that I mean that I don't want to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I get sober, like, I get a lot more, I don't know, which is a good thing, because you should say how you feel. I advocate for that. But I think situational awareness is also important, and like, you know what I mean? So I just, you know, sometimes it's unfortunate, but sometimes you do just have to be strategic about like what the fuck is going on. Also, why am I thinking about my ex? I'm thinking about one of my exes, if you can call it that. I don't know. I mean, we weren't officially dating, but we did at some point. The term boyfriends came up from like other people, and like, it was just kind of like a thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of behind all that, but I've been thinking about him recently, and maybe it's because he's thinking about me, maybe because I'm just so fucking psychic and I'm just picking up on it. But I've been thinking about him. I've been thinking about it, you know, and like my part in that, and like, I mean, I don't think I played a terrible part. I don't think I was like the destructor, but I don't know. Like I've been advocating, I definitely feel like I could have listened to my intuition a little bit more, a tiny bit more, when it came to that person. Like, I'm not saying he was an evil person or anything, like, but you know what I mean? Once again, we all have trauma. We all have things that we wish didn't happen to us. We all have experiences that, you know what I mean, or people in our lives that we don't really wish were there. and sometimes it carries out into other aspects of your life. You know what I mean? And he was also schizophrenic, and so that was a big factor. And I feel like, not to toot my own horn, I don't think about it in that context too much, but I think to some degree I did impart some wisdom onto him, because I remember when we first met, kind of when we first like interacted like intimately, and like he told me he was schizophrenic, and I like gave him some advice. Like I basically just kind of like channeled some advice, I guess, for him, and it was just like a thing, and I think it really helped. I think I really like up-leveled this person. And I don't think about it in that context, but like sometimes I think about it. Occasionally I'm like, you know what I mean? And most people that I've dated, probably, but a lot of people aren't necessarily receptive to the level up, you know what I mean? So that's unfortunate, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's a waste of energy. You know what I mean? Because I do believe that there's a reason why souls meet and why people separate and all that stuff. And it doesn't always make sense to the human mind, but I think, there's a reason. And a lot of the time, unfortunately, people aren't necessarily awake to the reasons. And so it just feels like heartache. It just feels like pain. It just feels like torture, because you're not thinking about why it's happening. You're just experiencing it. You know what I'm saying? Because as a reader, when people ask me like things, certain questions, like certain information comes up, and I'm like, I think this person was like meant to activate you and like wake you up and like inspire you, but you don't see it that way. So it's just a really big loss from your perspective. But they were a gift to you. They were like, it was an inspiring interaction. Like, use that for fuel for your future reality. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many people I think back to in fondness, and like, sure, I could say I miss them, but it's also like, well, it is what it is. Like, they serve their purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I think of one guy, this Mitch guy, this lovely character. We almost had sex. We didn't. He was technically straight, but he did offer at some point, and that was interesting. I didn't need to say that, but that did. I feel like he is one of those rare people that I like, because I think he was autistic. I don't know if he was diagnosed, but he definitely was like high functioning in different ways. Like, he was a high functioning addict. He was, hopefully he's off it now. Hopefully he's doing well. I hope he's doing okay. But I haven't, had contact with him in a while. And once again, I recognize the purpose that he served in my life. Like, I remember I got my phone fucking stolen. And my buddy, Mitch, was a good enough friend to get me a new phone. And that was fucking awesome. And I think he maybe did it twice, 2 different occasions. I don't know. But he definitely did that, and I was very appreciative of that. And I don't know. I feel like the ways in which I was supposed to inspire him, because he was a very smart guy. Like, he was, once again, very high functioning. But I think he was a little bit lost in faith, and we had conversations about that, and like, I imparted my perspective. But you know what I mean, people are going to think what they want to think, and people are going to believe what they want to believe, and that's okay. I'm not saying that as a negative. Like, much love to this dude, but like, it gets, wait, what was I about to say? I don't know what I was about to say. But yeah, he was like somewhat of like an atheist, I guess, and I used to be an atheist. I used to have that perspective wholeheartedly. And I gave him my perspective once again, and so I don't know how he received that, but I don't know. I have to imagine for somebody to want to help you get a new phone, they'd have to really appreciate you. Or maybe he was just a nice guy. He was a nice guy. And then I have so many memories of me, and it's cool, but I don't necessarily like yearn for that again. I'm not like, oh my god, I miss it, I wish it was happening. Like, it was a nice story. It happened, and it was awesome. It was beautiful, but like, it's over now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if more people understood that logic, I think there would probably be less like addiction and shit like that. Because then, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to say that in a better way, but you know what I mean? I'm also low-key listening to a podcast, and then I also did just kind of wait for somebody, so I'm kind of like recalibrating. Because I'm like, where do I go from here? I feel like I hit a lot of different topics, and so I'm trying to just kind of like say thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching or listening or whatever. I appreciate you. Shout out to the members of the Patreon. Link to you in the description if you want to join the Patreon or anything. And have a nice rest of your day. Remember, Jesus loves you. God loves you. Whatever you're going through is temporary. Keep your head up, keep your spirits high, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.